What is up, CSGs? The Houston Rockets 2024-25 schedule just dropped, and I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. It looks pretty tough. Looks like it's gonna be a pretty hard schedule. I'm gonna break down the entire schedule. I'm gonna tell you about the back-to-backs, road, home, everything, give you my prediction on the season. Tap in right now. Enjoy. The Rockets Chop Shop is your one-stop shop for all your basketball needs, for highlights, analysis, podcasts. We do it all here at the Rockets Chop Shop. Make sure you hit the like button on the videos that you watch if you enjoy them. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications from all the great drops that we have on the channel. Also, you can visit the Chop Shop merch store and get you some of the swaggiest gear in the Houston Rockets kingdom. And if you want, you can always support the channel directly through donations. And if you want, you can support us through our partnerships with our sponsors. The Rockets Chop Shop is made by fans, for fans, and we're going to keep rocking and keep dropping that heat.
This is something I know.
So the Rockets schedule is finally here. We're going to go through different sections of the schedule to see whether we can make a prediction on how we think the Rockets are going to do. Obviously, if you guys want to follow along with your predictions, put them in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this premiere live. But let me see if I can get to a point where you guys can agree with me. Okay, then we'll get to our win totals for the year. But we're going to try to do this logically. Okay, so first off, at glance, the Rockets schedule looks crazy. It looks super hard, super crazy. I think Tankathon has us right now as the third hardest schedule. Their metrics of grading the strength of schedules, it's kind of weird. It's really technical. Pretty much they look at the hardest teams and the weakest teams, and everybody's is relatively the same. As we know, the NBA is always in flux, right? One season a team could be great, and it takes one injury to take them out the playoff run. So for my methodology, I'm doing this based on how teams played last year, so it's a bit flawed. And I mix in some of my predictions for how some of these teams are going to project for this year. So anything could happen. You get a key injury to a star or something like that, then everything goes off. But I'm really looking at the different games, road and away. Is it a back-to-back? Is it is it a stretch of road games? Is it like the fourth road game in a row? Is it a team that we have to play in elevation? I factor in a lot of stuff when I break down the schedule. So let's get into that. We're going to look at it from different lenses and see whether we can make a informed decision about the Rockets schedule. So off rip, we're going to look at the back-to-back games. The Rockets have 15 pairs of back-to-backs in their schedule for this year. And it gets pretty brutal. There's some stretches. If you look at it, look at this. October started off the gate to start the season. We got a back-to-back with Memphis and San Antonio, which to me, I have us splitting those. I think San Antonio is going to be much better this year. So I got us beating Memphis and losing to San Antonio. I think Memphis is going to take a while to get Ja back ingratiated into their offense and their schemes. They have a lot of new players there. So I think they're going to take a while figuring it out. Obviously, we are coming in on second year of Coach Udoka. I expect the team to be a little smoother as far as the transition in. I don't expect that ugly Orlando first game that we saw last season, right, to start. So I think that's going to be a pretty good dub. Then going to San Antonio, I just expect the Wemby, Chris Paul, that whole dynamic to be really, really dynamic. And since it's going to be a new look Spurs, even though the Spurs are a quote unquote a tank team, or they were last year, I think this is a different beast. And I think that even though we did, have some good games with them, very competitive games, the games were close. And I think them having a new lineup with a guard that could feature Wemby a little bit more. I love what I saw from him in the Olympics. I think his game is going to take another leap. I think the game is going to be a little tougher. I still have us sweeping the series against them. I think 3-1 is what I predicted. But I think the first one's going to be a loss just because we're not used to them. We're going to get film on these new Spurs. But you can see here off rip, like I said, 15 back-to-backs. Of those back-to-backs, we have 18 playoff teams on those back-to-backs. So we're 15 pairs of back-to-backs means 30 back-to-back games, right? That's 30 back-to-back games that we're going to have there. That's 18 playoff. Of those games, 18 of those teams are going to be in the playoffs. That is going to be rough. Some of the playoff teams we play on back-to-backs include Milwaukee on the second night of a back-to-back. Definitely got that as an L. I got Philly on the second night of a back-to-back. Definitely got that as an L. I got, Minnesota on the second night of a back-to-back. Definitely got that as an L. I have Golden State on the second night of a back-to-back. I have that as an L. And then I got us beating, let's see, we do have some wins. You know, I mean, I gave us a couple of wins against San Antonio on the second night. I think we beat them. That's going to be an ESPN game, and I'll talk about the national TV games in a second. And then to close out the season with 3 L's at Indiana, Phoenix, and LA. The reason I put those games as L's is just because I think it's going to be super competitive, right? Those games are going to be competitive. I think we are going to be in the hunt for the playoffs at that point. And this is granted full health. I think if it's the Lakers as they finish out the season last year where they're on the bubble to make the playoffs, or the Phoenix Suns, one of those teams, then and these are on the road games. If we are fighting for a spot, I'm sorry, I just trust LeBron more than Jalen Green and Şengün at this moment. I trust KD more than Jalen to go win one game. So I don't know if we've made that leap yet. I'd love to see it. I'd love to be wrong. But on the back-to-backs for the season, I have us winning 14 of those 30 games. So 14 and 16 on the back-to-back records. So that's going to be my thing. And yeah, it's going to be a hard schedule, as you guys can see. So let's look at the national TV games now. So for the national TV games, we have 11 national TV games. That is crazy to me because I don't know if we've had 11 in the past 5 years since the bubble. I mean, I think there were some years we only had like 1 or 2, you know, the typical tank bowl between us and Detroit. So to get 11 games, let's check out these national TV games. Off rip, you can see I color code my charts. You know, I mean, that's the red or playoff teams, right? These are teams that were featured in the playoffs last year. Milwaukee, at Milwaukee, got that as an L. That's going to be on NBA TV. So, you know, not like the big time, but hey, NBA TV is still national. At Golden State, got that as an L. We struggle. I think Golden State has like a 4-year winning streak against us. So even though the team is not that great, I think we're gonna lose on the road on big time TV. They just, you know, they know how to step up for that. I got us beating Memphis on NBA TV. We got a Sacramento game, the white center from Europe that plays a certain style matchup there between Şengün and your boy Sabonis. I got us winning that on TNT, 9 p.m. game, Central Time. That's going to be one of those prime time second game of another big game. So I expect my boy Al P to step up to the plate for that. I expect Jalen Green to have a good game. Usually Jabari usually fares well against the Kings. Y'all know, I feel like we have their number in my opinion. Memphis, this is going to be later on in the season, January 30th. Memphis, I got that as a loss. The reason I have that as a loss, I think by then they'll hit their stride, and it's at Memphis, TNT, John Morant, full. Hopefully he's healthy. They got their full squad, Marcus Smart, all the trades they made. I think they got a good team. Gigi Jackson on his sophomore year, so I think that's going to be a pretty tough game for us. And it is going to be okay. It's not on the back-to-back. That Sacramento one is. We have a back-to-back first night against New York. I think is going to be an L. The second night on that Tuesday, the 4th, we play Brooklyn. So I'm going to say we lose to New York and beat Brooklyn the next day. So that New York game is going to be on 6:30 game in NYC. Now, we may win this. I have a feeling like some of our players really step up Madison Square. But this is at New York. Then we get a dub on another. I think this is the front end of a back-to-back. San Antonio, we beat them. I think we have their number. I think Şengün is still going to do good versus Wemby. I think that we just have more talent than them right now overall. You got the Phoenix game. I got that as a L, March 30th, and the Lakers. So those are 2 back-to-back West Coast trip games, late night games. I don't like those. We seem to always lose those West Coast games. I can't think of how many dubs we've got on the West Coast. Like on those West Coast trips, we might get one, maybe Phoenix, but I think we're going to lose. Now, I do have us beating Golden State at Golden State. Now, this is my Hail Mary. It's NBA TV, but it's at the end of the year. I'm assuming one of the Golden State Warriors key players is going to be hurt. Even though I feel like for us, we can win this game, bro. We can win this game. It's a Sunday night game. We have to dethrone these dudes from just killing us at some point. So I'm gonna assume we win. And then April 11th against LA, fighting for the playoffs. I'm assuming NBA TV. I get us having a dub. So the national TV games, I got us going 5-6. So 6 games of those 11 are going to be on some part of a back-to-back, whether the front end or the back end. And then we play 8 playoff caliber teams. So once again, crazy hard schedule. Now let's look at our home games. So for the home games, as you guys know, we have a pretty good home record from last year. I expect that trend to continue into this season. I think that the Rockets are going to keep doing that, right? I don't see us really struggling on at home as you know, as we've struggled on the road. You guys already know our road woes. So I'm going to say that for the home games, we are going to keep that up. I got us going 28-9 on at home, 37 home games in total. So I think last season we had 40, if I'm not mistaken, or 41 or something like that. It's about 3 less home games. So I got us winning 28 of those games, of those 37, only 9 losses, 24 playoff caliber teams at home, which I think is pretty, it's not too bad. 24 out of 37. Also 10 games are game 1 or 2s are back to back. So that's not as much. So I think we're going to protect home court. You can see that we have Memphis at home on NBA TV. We have an ESPN versus San Antonio at home. I just see us going through and cruising through at home. Now on the road is a whole different beast. That's a different beast. You guys already know we struggle on the road. I think that the road games are going to be a little tougher. We have more road games this year, 43, right? I think last year we only had 41, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 40. We're going to play 31 playoff caliber teams on the road, and 20 out of those 43 games are going to be on the first or second night of a back-to-back, which I don't love, right? So I still think that we do have some learning to do about winning on the road, and that's going to be the kind of the learning curve that we get. Last year we went 14-27 on the road. I think this year 17-26. That gives us 4 more wins, but also 3 less losses, in my opinion, because there's less. I think there's 40 road games, if I'm not mistaken. So I think just 4 more wins is going to be 3 more wins and one less loss. 3 more wins, 1 less loss. I think that's a 4-game swing. I think that's realistic. I said this before on one of the podcasts. The Rockets could very well improve immensely as a team and still have a similar record. I'll tell you guys what I think my total record is going to be, but just because, don't let the record be an indication of how the team has improved. Like, I think they can improve immensely, but the NBA is going to be a slugfest this year. It's going to be a slugfest. It really is. It really is. It really is. So that's going to be the road games. And then let's look at something here. I'm going to look at the months and kind of give you guys my prediction on the flow of the season, right? So the first month, which to me, like, we're going to throw in October and November as one section, or we'll look at it in sections. I think personally they're going to find their footing similar to the way they did last year. It's probably going to be a little bit quicker, but I think just because of getting all the players back healthy, obviously you have Steven Adams, Jock Landale is going to have a role, so I think there is going to be some norming within that change, the changes that is going to occur for the Rockets, and I think that's going to lead them to, not just coming out the gate and just blowing everybody out the water. One thing I do think from this previous season they're going to learn is kind of how to pace themselves. That was one of the issues that they had last year, and maybe not for the full season, but I think that they're going to understand about that wall that comes around the end of December, January. That wall is still going to hit. It hits most teams, but I think our guys are old enough now, and I'm hoping Fred VanVleet, Dillon, all these guys don't have to play as many minutes. When you have Amen Thompson, you have Reed Shepherd, you have Cam Whitmore, you have these young guys coming in and getting more of those guard spots for Fred. We have a plethora of wings with Tari Eason, Jabari, AJ Griffin now added to the mix for that. Amen Thompson plays some of the wing. So Dillon doesn't have to play as many minutes. I'm saying that's because those old guys hit that wall really bad. So we hope that doesn't happen. And you've addressed the depth at center. You got Landale, who is no longer a corpse of himself, is actually a living, breathing being of an NBA player. Steven Adams, whatever is left of his knees, if he is able to go, that depth at center is going to be very helpful for not having Şengün playing games, 38, 40 minutes, and then be expected to do that. And you guys know we have a lot of back-to-back. So that first stretch, you can see we got, several back-to-backs in that stretch, 5 sets of back-to-backs within a 20-game span. That's 10 games. So damn near half the games are either first or second night of a back-to-back. We play 12 playoff teams during that 20-game stretch. I got us winning 55% of our games, going 11-9 in that stretch. Some key matchups to look at. OKC is November 8th. I got us losing that. I feel like we're going to beat them later on in the year. They just got their groove. I think they're a team that's ready. They're poised to make a deeper playoff run, possibly getting to the Western Conference Finals this year. Teams like that, if you guys remember from the Harden years, they come in and they take care of business early because they have that continuity. So they added, what's his name? Buddy from Chicago. I'm blanking right now, but they added him. I think he definitely makes them a better team. They're going to be a tough team. I'm not going to lie. Chet, year 2. So they're going to be a tough team. I think we lose to them. Some big wins for us. I got us beating New York at home. I got us beating San Antonio early on after we take the loss. Charlotte and Memphis are easy dubs. Detroit, Washington dubs. I got us splitting the Clippers series when we go when they're actually coming to Houston for those games. I got us beating Chicago on the first night of a back-to-back, losing to Milwaukee. I got us beating Indiana, splitting Portland. I wouldn't be surprised if we beat Portland twice, and then 2 L's at Minnesota, at Philly. So that's 11-9. If they come out of the end of November 11-9, we are actually cooking. To me, that's a good pace for the team. 2 games above 500. Moving on to the second section of the season, we get into December through the All-Star break. 6 sets of back-to-backs. So that's 12 games or back-to-backs, 23 playoffs team. So I think this is probably going to be the hardest stretch of the season. The reason I say that is because of the wall that we're going to hit. And that wall is going to hit like crack. You guys already know how this goes. Around probably January 5th-ish, 6th, something like that, everybody's shooting percentage is going to hit the wall and it's going to drop. And I think we'll start losing games as the month comes along. Now, I got us on a couple streaks here. If you can see, not too many back-to-backs during the stretch, but a lot of playoff teams. There's a stretch from December 26th through January 5th. We play at New Orleans. Then we get a home stretch of Minnesota, Miami, Dallas, Boston, Lakers. That's tough. So in that stretch, I think that's going to be a tough stretch. It's going to be very defining for us if we can take care of home. For that stretch, I have us winning. Looks like I got us going 2-3 in that stretch. 2-3. So it could easily be 3-2. Then we get a little bit of a layoff where we get Washington, Memphis, Atlanta, Denver, Sacramento, Portland, Detroit. So I got us getting some dubs in that stretch. Then you can see here where this really drags down is as we approach the All-Star break. I feel like we're going to crash out because we get on the road a little bit. And then, we got a lot of back-to-backs. And look at these. We have 1, 2, 3 sets of back-to-backs in the month of February before the All-Star break at New York. And look at the road games at New York, at Dallas. Then we got Golden State, Phoenix, Minnesota. The only kind of sure wins are going to be Brooklyn and Toronto. So for that stretch, I think it's going to be tough. I really think it's going to be tough for us to go there, for those. So I feel like if we come out of that stretch of games with 2 wins, we'll be doing good. I'm factoring in not only the competition, the level of play. I'm factoring in the fact that we're going to be on the crawling on the desert sand, trying to find water point of the season where guys are just dead tired, bro. So that's what I'm thinking. So, and that's that 33 game stretch from December through the All-Star break got us going 15-18. That's going to be my prediction. 15-18. 45% win total, 23 playoff teams, 6 sets of back-to-backs. That's pretty tough. And then the last home stretch for the season is going to be the post-All-Star break run, which starts February 21st through April 13th. It's pretty friendly. We got only 4 pairs of back-to-backs. Hella playoff teams for that stretch. But I think that this is where, as you guys know, we turn up. This has been a theme for this franchise in this new dispensation. I think we turn up and push for the playoffs in this stretch. I got us beating some big teams here. I got us beating Minnesota out the gate after All-Star breaks. I got us beating Milwaukee for some big games. I got us beating OKC in that stretch. I got us beating New Orleans. I got us beating Phoenix at home, Orlando at home, beating Dallas at home, losing to Chicago on a back-to-back. Dallas at home, then Chicago the next night. I feel like we'll beat Dallas finally, then beat Chicago. Then we got Phoenix and LA on a back-to-back as well. Got those both as losses, I said earlier. That's that West Coast trip. And I think we finish out the year pretty good. From April, the month of April, I see us going on a nice little run. I have us going 5-1 to close out the season. For that post All-Star break, I got us going 19-8 for a 70% win total. So the full schedule, my predictions for the team, as you can see, I got us, and you got to factor in the two in-season tournament games. In total, for the 82 games, I got the Rockets winning 46 games, 46-36. That's a 56% win percentage. I think that is closely similar to the Lakers' record last year. I think they were 45-37, if I'm not mistaken. That was good enough for the 8th seed outright. So at 46-36, in my opinion, for this Western team, for this Western Conference in the West, I think that is going to be good enough for the 7th or the 8th seed, maybe the 6th seed. Maybe the 6th seed, just because I just feel like there's so much parity in the West this year. The Rockets, this is going to be a tough year. I know the guys are going to improve, but they really got to come and get it, right? They got to come and get it, and this is going to be the year to show it. I can see, obviously Portland. I don't know if they're going to outright tank. If I was them, I would, right? The Spurs, you're not really sure where they're going to be with Victor this year. I feel like him being the anchor for a team that went to the Olympics championship game is kind of a big deal. I know obviously the cast is different, Rudy there, but they didn't really need Rudy Gobert as much down the stretch as they needed Victor Wembanyama. I mean, he was really affecting the game and impacting the game for them. And to me, that is scary because I feel like he has way better guard play on the Spurs than he does on Team France. So I feel like the Spurs are going to have something to say. I don't know, with DeJounte Murray going over to New Orleans, their guard play is going to improve a lot. Guard play is going to improve a lot. So him and CJ and BI, what are they going to do there? Is BI going to be disgruntled? Is the chemistry? Is Zion coming back? A lot of factors with him. So we don't know where they're going to go. Ja coming back to Memphis. What does that team look like? Is he truly one of those superstars that his presence alone is what's going to impact the team's wins and drive them to being a contender? So you look at all those teams. Golden State, is Steph going to be able to finally carry a team without, another person there? Are they really going to improve? Are they going to be a playoff team? The Lakers, to me, as long as LeBron and AD are healthy, they could beat any team on any given night. So I don't count them out. The Kings, they barely missed the postseason last year. Are they going to have something to say about it? There are not going to be any off nights in the West. There are not going to be any off nights in the West. I feel like the season schedule is really going to be a challenge for us to navigate this season. Like I said, we have so many sets of back-to-backs, and correction, it is 16 back-to-backs, 16 sets of back-to-backs. That's a lot. Not 15 sets, 16 sets. So it's 32 games. So yeah, all of those back-to-backs. We have more road games. The competition is going to be up there. I got to still win in 46 games. That's 4 more games. I think the team is going to be, in order for them to achieve that, they got to be that much more better. They got to be much, much better. If the team that showed up last year played in this schedule, in this season, in this NBA, I feel like we probably win 35 games. I feel like we probably win 35 games. So to get to 46 from my perspective, from that team, it factors in the health of all of our players being fully healthy, and also just the leaps within the younger players and guys getting used to the system. I think 46 is realistic. That's a incremental growth that you expect to see from a team that's going to be a contender. And we'll see what happens down the road. But excited to see the schedule. I'm excited to see what your predictions are for this team. What do you guys think? How many games are the Rockets going to win this year? And if you think we're going to make the playoffs outright, what seeding do you think they get in the West? Are they going to be a top 6 seed? Are they going to be a top 10, 8? Are they out the playoffs? Y'all let me know in the comments and in the chat. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop, and we're going to keep dropping that fire.
DJ Candlestick. It's the Chop Not Slap Show.